The next day. Princess, are you okay? Oh, if it isn't the princess, are those dark circles around your eyes from a romantic night out? You were out with someone last night? No, they are from being woken up early by Delora to do chores. Delora grins at me from the other side of the bar but says nothing as she goes back to a conversation with another boarder. Darling, you are no fun at all. You must tell me what happened last night. Last night? Did you like the bouquet? How do you know about the bouquet? Why? Because it was my suggestion. When Chevalier was asking Karma for advice, it was about me? Aww. Look at the way she smiled, Anise. Last night must have gone well. I'm confused. What happened last night? I'm going to get Rumpel to give me all the juicy details when he comes downstairs. That is Chevalier to you. Chevalier appears behind Karma smiling. He seems a lot calmer today than usual. He glances over. Oh my god. He glances over at Karma and oh my god. He glances over Karma at me. And we catch each other in a silent gaze. Seeing his eyes reminds me of last night, which makes me advertently flush. Chevalier just winks at me. Chevalier, what is that? Something you say when a person sneezes? No, that's his name. Rumpel, that is, Chevalier broke his curse yesterday. There is stunned silence from everyone in the immediate area. Even Delora walks over to us. What's this about a broken curse? Was it you, Rumpel? He's going by something that sounds like a fancy cake. Parfait seems to be bursting with excitement. Though she is her usual calm self on the outside, I can tell by the bounce in her step and by the way she raises her voice to make an announcement that she is proud. When everyone has learned that Chevalier has broken his curse, people come to the table offering drinks and congratulations. Chevalier gets lost in a crowd, mostly women, but to my surprise, Chevalier does not flirt back with any of them. Oh, okay. And then in between our celebrations for Chevalier, the front door to the marchant opens and Waltz rushes inside. Where are Delora and Lady Parfait? I need to speak to them immediately. Oh god, what's going on? Waltz, you're just in time. Something has happened at the palace. Oh no, okay. The room goes quiet at Waltz's proclamation. A few people shift uneasily in their chairs. Some try to go back to conversation. Most people do not care what happens in the palace, but they can tell by the tone of Waltz's voice that it is bad. What's happened at the palace? An uprising. What? Oh, a coup staged by witches. Witches have taken over the palace. What? The information is so sudden it makes me dizzy. I reach out to grab the table and my hand lands on the wood before I can slip. Witches have taken over the palace? An army of them? No, only a few. Jurian strides across the room, followed quickly by Garland. What's this about witches taking over? We have some of the best knights at the palace. There is no way witches could break in under the police's guard. Oh my god, police's guard. Palace's guard. Unless they had someone inside helping them. 𝐒𝐿𝐫𝐲? No, Myth. Who are we talking about? You know him as Mithros. He uses a different name now. Sir Mithros, the king's advisor. He's a witch? There is no way Mithros is a witch. We would have known. Glamour. He used a glamour. Everything Walt says suddenly gets swallowed up in questions. Jurian and Garland ask question after question while others start surrounding Walt to ask him what has happened to the king and his children. I try to step closer to listen, but I cannot hear over the frantic voices in the room. Sir Mithros, I never trusted him, but I never thought he would be a witch. The room only quiets down when Delora and Parfait come to punctuate the conversation with their own demands for everyone to give Walt space. This is not good. The marchant boarders are all taken into the reception room where Walt stands at attention waiting to answer questions. He explains that he was looking into a rumor about Sir Mithros when only a few days ago he found out about the witches' uprising. It was a surprise attack orchestrated by Mithros, who let the witches in through a secret entrance to the palace. Oh, the underground tunnels, right? 𝐒𝐿𝐵𝐷 was killed. What? During the uprising. I'm trying to read this and I'm looking at my phone, and as soon as I said, I was like, wait, what? He was killed during the uprising. Many knights were injured and are currently being tended to in clinics and hospitals around town. After his explanation, I feel even worse than I did in the main room. I stare at Waltz at a loss. What of Fritz? Fritz? Sir 𝐿𝐵𝐷's son, Fitzgerald. He was my personal knight. If Sir 𝐿𝐵𝐷 was killed during the uprising, where did that put Fritz? Was he working with Sir 𝐿𝐵𝐷 or with Sir 𝐕𝐤𝐻𝐿𝐵𝐷? Did he escape? I'm sorry, Princess. I haven't heard anything about a knight named Fitzgerald. Oh my god. Was he killed? The thought makes my heart plummet. No, Fritz cannot possibly be dead. I have to believe that he is still alive. I feel Chevalier's hand on my shoulder briefly before it slides off. Are any of the king's knights remaining in the palace? If they are, then they would have been forced to turn against the king or they've been killed. Is 𝐕𝐤𝐻𝐿𝐵𝐷 sitting on the throne? No, he usurped the king but hasn't taken his throne. Waltz turns to me and his expression softens. Princess, feel free to ask me whatever you want. I'm sorry I didn't answer all your questions earlier. I have so many questions, but I suppose I will ask them one at a time. Oh, what has happened to the king and the others? I'm not sure. From what I've heard, the king and his family, your family, are still alive. I've never cared for any of my step-family, but hearing that they are okay is still a relief. 𝐕𝐤𝐻𝐿𝐵𝐷 may be keeping them prisoner for now. What is the glamour that Sir 𝐕𝐤𝐻𝐿𝐵𝐷 uses? Oh yeah, so this has been coming up in all the previous routes, and I've been wondering what this is. Dolores steps in to answer the question. A glamour is a high-level magic used to conceal one's identity. It keeps even other witches from sensing you. Parfait cast the same magic on you shortly after you came to the tavern. It was to protect you from the evil witches. Ooh. A glamour can only be conjured by the powerful witches. It sounds as if this witch has been using a glamour to hide himself from others. Do you know 𝐕𝐤𝐻𝐿𝐵𝐷? It was a long time ago. We both shared the same teacher. Teacher, wait. Waltz, are you a witch? Yeah, and didn't they mention that like Hildur was like the teacher or something about that? I have no clue. He smiles at me, but it is weak and does not reach his eyes. Myth was always very competitive. I thought that he had died at the end of the Great War, but he's been in the palace this whole time. His disguise is so simple. I should have realized his name was so similar, but you couldn't have helped it. That's what the glamour does to you. Maybe if I wasn't cursed, if I had more of my magic, I would have been able to sense him. Who has claimed the crown? As of right now, no one. The king's been kicked off of the throne, but 𝐕𝐤𝐻𝐿𝐵𝐷 has made a public announcement about usurping the throne, but he does not call himself king. Is he trying to win the throne over for someone? 𝐕𝐤𝐻 has no one left. He was obsessed with our teacher, but she is gone. Maybe he has different alliances now? Parfait's eyes look distant as she stares dismally down at the ground. If my curse were broken, I would charge in right now and destroy him. Waltz's expression becomes so dark it sends a shiver through me. It isn't like Waltz to look so angry. We need to come up with a plan. Even if you weren't cursed, you would still not be able to defeat 𝐕𝐤𝐻𝐿𝐵𝐷 when he has other witches with him. Witches are trickier to handle. Can't just be punched through with a sword, eh? I agree with Karma. If all of us go in with swords and shields, we should be able to take the palace back. That is what we've been practicing for. Practicing? Period. We all know about that. Even witches will die if you stick a sword through their heart, don't they? But getting to a witch who knows you're there is difficult. I must do something. Oh. I want to help. I guess. I don't know. Chevalier wraps his fingers around my wrist and frowns. Princess. This whole time, I've been living at the margin. I was spared the fate of the royal family by sheer coincidence because I was cursed. I cannot just sit here and do nothing while the kingdom falls to a witch. It fell to witches before and there were dire consequences. I cannot continue to be passive. I will not let myself be like Mother. Oh, period! Princess, I'm Lucette Breton, the Crown Princess of Angielle, and I will not stand by and watch while the kingdom is in turmoil. The room goes quiet at my statement. Chevalier's fingers loosen on my hand. I can see a ghost of a smile on his face, though it underlies his sorrow. Spoken like a true princess. Whether or not you want to help, Princess, you really can't. You won't be able to use magic until your 18th birthday. That's when you become the bearer. I cannot let that stop me. I will find a way. The conversations in the room continue for a long while. At some point, it is said that volunteers are needed at the hospitals and clinics for the injured soldiers. Chevalier immediately volunteers. Only afterward does he look at me with regret. Princess, I'm sorry. For what? For putting my job before you, and after all I just said. He told me he was going to try his best to change. Bria called him selfless for putting his work before her, but you would be a fool not to. My life is not in any danger, and there are people who need you more than I do. Do what you do best, Chevalier. Aww, Princess Lucette. I promise you I will do whatever I can to help you as well. As the meeting disbands, I am left standing there and quiet. The last to leave is Waltz, who promised me that he will make things right. I'm going to trust everyone, but I am also not going to stand idle. I will make things right somehow. As is my responsibility as Crown Princess. Oh, don't go out into town, please. By yourself. Chapter 9, The Witch Puppet. Gosh. Oh no, you little brat, you did! Oh wait, never mind. Never mind. Another long night. The two of us are on our way back to the margin after visiting a clinic in town. We were there for hours, and it is a relief to be out in the open now, where I can feel the wind on my skin. Are you okay, Princess? I know that what you saw must have been difficult. I'm sorry I couldn't shield you from the majority of it. I volunteered to help Chevalier at the clinic part-time, but it is worse than I expected. Many of the soldiers have severe wounds. I had thought that most of the injuries sustained by the knights during the upheaval were only minor, but I was wrong. Their injuries are much worse. Princess. He reaches out and laces his fingers through mine, then gives me a soft smile as he squeezes my hand. Are you okay? I'm fine. It has only been one day since the uprising at the palace. I thought that there would be less blood. I was wrong. Is this what things were like after the Great War? I wasn't a fully certified doctor after the Great War, but I was an assistant. It was far worse than this, Princess. We cannot have a repeat of the Great War. I do not know why Mithras would kill Sir Arcaster and take the throne without claiming the crown, but the witches already have a bad name and he is making it worse. I cannot help but remember the wide smiles Mithras gave me when I was still living in the palace. Every time I felt his eyes on me, I felt there was something strange about him. There was always a cloudiness to his eyes, something unreadable. He was excellent at his job, but always had an enigma outside of it. A sudden breeze chills my skin. Let's go back before you freeze out here. The two of us begin our walk back to the margin. Thoughts of the palace tonight and my stepfamily cloud my mind. Since I have been staying at the margin, I have not seen Rod once. I was never sure if it was because he was ignoring me or if it was because he only wanted to speak to Parfait. That's really it. Regardless, I hope Rod and his family are okay. I would never wish this treatment upon anyone, not even to ones I hated. As we walk, I glance up at Chevalier, whose head is tilted skyward. I catch the glimmer of lights in his eyes and smile. Even for just a moment, I can forget about everything when I am beside him. He has a way of taking the weight off my shoulders. But as the Crown Princess, I cannot let others carry my burden for me. I must find ways to protect others, even if it means putting myself in danger or harming someone in order to protect someone else. What do you think is the easiest and fastest way to kill someone? Chevalier's body goes rigid beside me. He stops to stare at me wide-eyed. I'm just asking just in case I'm ever in danger. I have never fought anyone before. I can retaliate, but I do not know how to actually harm anyone. To kill someone is to end a life. It is stealing away a life that others might love. You bear the burden of that death for the rest of your life. I pull myself away from him. But Mithras is not an innocent man. Would you rather he kill the royal family instead? No, it's not that, Princess. I know he must be stopped at any cost. It's just, I would never want you to have to kill someone. How would you know what it was like to kill someone? You have only ever helped people, not hurt them. You saw the soldiers in the clinic today. You saw how close some of them were to death. Did you see the hollow look in their eyes? I have seen that look many times. It is the look of a man who clings desperately to life. Every life is precious. And a life is still a life, whether it's vile or not. It is still a responsibility you have to bear. I know how valuable and fragile lives are because I have helped so many people. We stand quiet for a few moments facing each other. I know I am at odds with Chevalier. He speaks the truth, but I also know that I have to speak my own version of the truth too. The world is a place where only the strong survive. People are kind, but they will take advantage of those who are too caring. Bree told me that Chevalier was so selfless that he became selfish. She told me that he never had anything because he gave everything to others. His kindness has hurt others, and I fear that it has a likely chance to hurt him as well. What if his reluctance to hurt anyone causes him to be the one that is injured? Chevalier suddenly breaks the silence. Most people think that the easiest way to kill a person is to stab them through the heart. Those people would be wrong. He puts his hand over his heart and stares dismally down at the ground. He removes his hand briefly, but only to reach for mine. God. All cute. He takes my hand and settles it on his chest slightly to the left. I can hear the beating of his heart beneath my palm. It is soft and gentle. What can you feel besides the beating of my heart? The ribs? Yes, in order to stab the heart, you'd have to get through the ribs. That's why most of the soldiers in there who got stabbed in the chest are still alive. If you want to quickly kill someone, you have to stab somewhere where it would be difficult to stem the blood from a wound. Do you have any idea where that might be? Well, I know this, but it's the neck. Yeah, I'm in anatomy, so I know that. The skin on the neck is thinner, and you have lots of blood flow underneath the skin going right to your head. It would most likely be easier to slice or pierce something more vulnerable in the neck without running into as much resistance. Chevalier raises an eyebrow. Did you happen to pick that up around the clinic? No, I simply guessed. Then you have a bright mind, Princess. Chevalier moves my hand to the side of his neck. My fingers curl slightly when I feel his heartbeat reverberate beneath my fingers. Gosh. This part is where you can find the jugular vein and the carotid artery. He runs my fingers down the length of it and I shudder. A mischievous smile brightens his face. Not only does cutting at the neck stop blood from going to the head, but it also makes it spurt. If both the vein and the artery are cut, it only takes a minute to bleed to death. Thus, one of the best ways to kill a person would be through the neck. Why are you telling me all this now? I was just enlightening a new pupil with an anatomy lesson. You asked me a question, I responded as a teacher. Chevalier's fingers loosen on my hand, and I grasp his hand tighter in response. Princess, I don't want you to have to bear the burden of a murder. I promise that I'll protect you so you don't have to defend yourself with violence. I can't use a sword or magic, and I don't know how to fight, but I will always be there to protect you. I may not have an abundance of muscles beneath these sleeves, but I am a doctor. No one knows the body better than I, so though it may not be heroic, I know how to hurt a person. His sincere expression, though pain, tells me that he is telling the truth. I do not want Chevalier to hurt a person either. It would destroy everything that he has worked toward as a doctor. He has seen so much suffering and yet always seems untouched by it. I would do anything I can to protect his positivity. The marching was quiet when we returned. Everyone had already disappeared into their rooms, and so I went straight to mine. I also forced Chevalier to go back to his. He has been on his feet all day and he needs the rest. I plopped down onto my bed as soon as we returned home. I glanced briefly to the side, where Chevalier's bouquet is in the vase Parfait given to me. Who is it? Parfait, come in. You've returned. Parfait looks paler than normal. I realized with a start that Chevalier did not tend to her at all today. Don't look at me like that, I'm fine. How were the soldiers at the clinic? Not good. Many of them have been gravely wounded. Some said that they remembered magic. Others say they do not remember anything at all. A shadow falls over Parfait's expression as she sighs. So the circumstances are dire than we thought. It is a good thing Chevalier is there to lend a helping hand. Did you all manage to come up with a plan? It's proving more difficult than we anticipated. Delora and I are willing to put ourselves in danger. Waltz is too, because he can use magic to a certain extent. The Knights and Karma have their blades. But Chevalier, I do not want to involve him in this, because you're worried about him. Of course I am. You've grown, Princess. You remind me of a younger Hildur. Aww. Back then, Hildur was both calm and resilient. One moment she could be smiling ear to ear, the next she could be strict and unmovable as the coldest ice. The two of us were like sisters. We did so much together. We learned together, explored the kingdom together. I can say with all certainty that we were the best of friends. And then the fairy tales happened. When Hildur killed the first human, she was corrupted. Her darkness swallowed her whole. I do not remember a time before Mother was corrupted, and so I cannot imagine the woman Parfait describes. I know that the old Hildur would have wanted to show you the beauty in things, Princess. She would not have wanted you to suffer. I'm sorry you became so embroiled in things. It was inevitable. If Delora hadn't cursed me, then I would still be in the palace, and I would be just as helpless as everyone else. So while I'm out here, I have the responsibility to help everyone. I trust the incomplete glass slipper at my neck. I still haven't even done 3 good deeds. Don't look so sad. You will complete your 3 good deeds and things will go back to normal. And of course, you'll still have friends here when you return. And come your 18th birthday, Delora and I will teach you about magic. Waltz is eager to help too. But for now, our top priority is a plan. Rest easy, Princess. Things will work out. It is hard to believe that this problem could be so easily solved, but I will try to believe. When Parfait leaves, I am left to my own thoughts. I hope everyone at the palace is okay and that they can hold on until we come up with our plan, but I feel like we are already running out of time. Oh. Days go by and I find myself assisting Chevalier at times. Other times, I remain at the marching to help conceptualize a plan. None of our plans have actually shown any promise yet, but with all of our minds put together, we should be able to come up with something. A week later, I find myself standing outside the clinic door waiting for Chevalier. I'm sorry to have kept you waiting, Princess. You can drop the title, you know. Lucette, but you are a princess in my eyes. Yes, but you do not need to address me by title. Just my name is fine. Chevalier reaches out to take my hand and then immediately pulls his hand back, eyes wide. I forgot it. Forgot what? The medicine that I need for Parfait. Give me a moment, Lucette. Chevalier plants a quick kiss on my forehead before running inside. I stare at the stars as I wait. I turn and see no one walking around the plaza. I inch closer toward the door of the clinic as I take another look around. Boo. Oh. I suddenly see the silhouette of a man. He takes a few more steps toward me and then stops in front of me. Oh, hi Varg. What do you want? I recognize him immediately. His appearance left quite an impression on me the last time. Out at night by yourself. Certainly know that the wolves prowl these streets at night. What do you want? I take a step back and press myself to the door. I reach for the door handle, but the man reaches out a hand to grab my wrist, holding it to the door. I'd say my answer to that question is complicated, Princess. By the expression on your face, I must have hit the nail right on the head, Princess. Hit the nail right on the head, you are the princess. How do you know who I am? That is part of the mystery, isn't it? I attempt to wrestle my wrist out of his fingers. Come with me quietly and you won't get hurt. Bitch, no! I'm screaming for help. I refuse to go anywhere with him. I open my mouth to scream, but before I can even breathe, the man's hand flies to my mouth. You're a disobedient one, aren't you? I struggle against his grasp. It does not take long for the grin to fall from his face. It is replaced with a look that lacks any amusement. I enjoy seeing you struggle, but I'm afraid we've been out here for too long. I bang my shoulder against the door and a resounding creak follows my attempt. No more Mr. Nice Guy. The man opens a small veil right in front of my face. Something sweet wafts in the air and I suddenly feel myself falling into darkness as I collapse. Oh my god, are you serious? We're in our room? Oh my god, what is going on? Where am I? I glance around me. My room. I look around cautiously, checking to see if anything in my room is different. The last time I was here was before I was cursed. How is it that this room is the same? Ew, it's you. Sleeping Beauty has awoken. I moved to stand up before realizing that my legs are numb. Shame to see you so easily tamed, Princess, and here I thought you would be fun. I glanced up at to look at the man who is now standing right at my bedside. How do you know who I am? Are you a witch? A witch? Me? Huh. He burst into laughter. I would rip the witches to shreds if I could. If he could. Then you are cursed. The man simply smirks at me but says nothing in response. He brushes the word aside with the gesture of his hand. Are you working for Mithros? Probably. I glare at his vague answer. My name is Varg, and I've been assigned to be your personal knight. I already have a personal knight. Oh, you mean Fritz? I got rid of him. What? You... No playing with the king's daughter, Varg. Oh, hi, it's you, ugly as ever. Mithros enters the room. Now he stands in the doorway, eyeing the both of us with a smile that is so oddly reminiscent of his usual one that it makes me sick. Mithros. Princess, you look more and more like your mother every day. Why, the scowl on your face is almost a perfect reflection. He moves to stand in front of me. At the same time, Varg begins to take slow and careful footsteps to the edge of my room. What have you done with everyone? Inconsequential or consequential? What? Mithros clicks his tongue impatiently. Inconsequential or consequential people. I narrow my eyes at him. I have no idea who he defines as inconsequential or consequential. Where are the king and the rest of the family? Where is Fritz? Were you the one who killed Sir 𝐒𝐿𝐵𝐷? Inconsequential and inconsequential then. To start, your knight is gone, Princess. I've replaced him with Varg here. And 𝐒𝐿𝐵𝐷, well, we had a common cause at first. We both wanted the crown. Sir 𝐒𝐿𝐵𝐷 was also betraying the king. We knew that. But 𝐒𝐿𝐵𝐷 was a brute. He wanted to needlessly kill the royal family and steal the crown for himself. At first I thought he was calm and calculating. But it turns out that he was just a power-hungry fool. Though I did want to take the crown, I wanted to avoid the bloodshed of certain important people. Mithros smiles at me. It is a look that makes my blood run cold. So I disposed of him and the rest of the knights. Oh, but don't worry, Princess. I assure you that your family is resting in their rooms, just like you are resting in yours. What? Do not worry, you will see them shortly for dinner. I had my doubts about Mithros' story, but if what he said was true, then Sir 𝐒𝐿𝐵𝐷 wanted to kill the royal family and Mithros saved them. But then he decimated the knights and took the royal family hostage. Why would he do such a thing? They're prisoners then. Prisoners in their own home? Nonsense. We're all just awaiting the queen's return together. What? The queen? Slowly, I feel pieces beginning to fit together. The queen. He cannot be talking about Ophelia. Delora, do you think witches are capable of bringing back the dead? What? No way. Mother is dead. Is she really? You can bring Mother back from the dead? We can, Princess! The king has been resting, the queen has been resting for a long time waiting for you to gain your power so that you can help her escape her prison. You are not making any sense. I struggle to keep my words from faltering. How is Mother alive, and what does he mean by a prison? The Tambarum is the queen's prison. It is linked to the queen's power. Though others presume she was dead, the queen is still the last of her powers inside the crystal. All she requires is your power, Princess. My power? When you become the next Barrow, you will have the ability to release the queen from her prison. My birthday is in a week. That is when I meant to take on the responsibilities of becoming the bearer, though Parfait and Delora never went into more detail beyond that. You'll finally get to see your mother again, Princess. I still cannot quite take in everything he just said. However, if Mithros had approached me before the curse, I would have helped Mother in a heartbeat. But it was Mother who was the last Cinderella bearer and the one who brought darkness to Angielle. I once believed that Mother was the only person who ever loved me. Now I know that I was wrong, that she shut me in from a world that I should have known. But still, even now, I wish she was here. I take a deep breath. But I cannot afford to be selfish. I cannot put anyone else in danger. I will not help you. You don't have a choice, Princess. I have set the stage for my queen's return. All that's left is to free her from her cage. We will speak more of this at the dining table. What? Oh my god. Mithros leaves the room, leaving me briefly with Varg. So what, are we now gonna release her? Oh my gosh. Varg smiles at me behind his mask, and then brings his index fingers to the temple of his head and loops it. He mouths the word crazy. You said you would tear the witches apart, so why do you serve Mithros? A good question. You are not going to answer me. How perceptive of you, princess. He smirks at me before following Mithros out the door. I'm once again left by myself in the room. Everything Mithros just told me swirls through my mind. My mother, alive. And he killed everyone only to take the crown and keep it for her. A shudder runs through my body. She could not return. I spend the next hour looking around my room for things that might aid my escape. I know where everyone else's rooms are too, but I have no idea how heavily guarded they are, and I doubt that I could help them. I must return to the march-in. I test the window, but it is locked, probably with magic. I search my shelves. The dolls that used to comfort me can do nothing for me now. Last, I check my drawers, and though there are many things in them, there is nothing that looks like it could help me escape. As I am searching, I come across a box and pause to pick it up. I remember this. It was given to me by mother with strict instructions not to open it and always keep the key hidden. I search the drawer again for the key. The moment I begin to set the box down, I see a small golden key at the bottom of the drawer. I pick it up and about to open it when I stop. This is hardly a priority right now. I set the key down next to the box. I should be searching for a way to escape. I turn to see Varg's smiling face at the door. You look like a criminal who's just been caught doing something naughty, says the criminal himself. Maybe we're meant for each other. Oh my god. I don't think so. I narrow my eyes as he approaches. Behind his back, I can make out the open door. Don't even think about it. You don't want me to pounce you in the hallways, do you? That would be unpleasant. I mean, thanks for threatening me. Varg grabs my wrist. I attempt to struggle free, but he holds tight to me. I will be your escort to dinner tonight. I keep my head held high as Varg escorts me from the room. On the way to the dining hall, I glimpse the rest of the palace. It is mostly empty, save for a few soldiers. The soldiers that do stand there have a glazed look in their eyes and look right through me. Puppets. A spell cast by Mithros? Varg does not answer me as he pulls me through the hallway. Maybe. Soon I find myself in the dining hall. The guards usually standing by the walls are gone. Now there's only the royal family and they seem to be unharmed. You? I can see the recognition in the king's eyes. My heart flutters as he stands or tries to. He manages to rise, but only just barely. I notice that his feet stay firmly planted where they are. Everyone's bodies look exceptionally stiff. Is this some kind of spell? You are the girl that was outside my palace months ago. Mithros, what is the meaning of this? I notice that the king is not at the head of the table as usual. Everyone sits on the table sides except for Mithros, who is at the far end. The king's seat, however, is clear. I simply brought back the crown princess. You should be thanking me, Gennaro. I have reunited you with your daughter. My daughter. The king raises an eyebrow, clearly skeptical. I can see that in his eyes that he is left to trust anything Mithros has to say. The king slumps in his chair as Varg leads me to a seat just beside Rod. I notice Emmeline sitting just to Rod's side. She forces a smile onto her face, but I can see tears gathering in her eyes. Allow me to offer a more formal introduction for our guest, even though you all know her. Her name is Lucette Riella Breton, and she is the crown princess of Angielle. And your blood daughter, Gennaro. The king looks at me again. This time there is more uncertainty in his gaze. Prince Rod will tell you, won't he? Rod? Rod looks at me, his gaze quiet but expectant. I turn to the king and the rest of my step-family. Oh. Should we play along? Or wait, no, not play along. Like, that might be best. I don't know. There is no point in trying to convince the king of my birthright here and now. I would only confuse him more. Now is not the time or place. I glance at Mithros, who is smiling at me expectantly. Besides, Mithros must have a reason for assisting my birthright right now. Most likely, he just means to confuse the king more. If that is the case, I will not play into such a petty scheme. My name is Lucette. Thank you for your kindness at one time. Rod looked shocked. I scowled at him before turning to look at Mithros. Mithros' smile has twisted into a frown. I feel proud in seeing him caught off guard. Lucette, what are you doing here? Gennaro, she is undoubtedly your daughter. That is why she is in the room that you've been taking care of. What? The king's eyes widen. He looks at a loss for words. Princess, the king has been keeping your room clean and tidy for the sake of nostalgia, and he has no idea why. Magic works in interesting ways, doesn't it? I was wondering why my room was unchanged, but could it be that the king remembers me somehow? I look up at him, but he has already glanced away from me, his expression a complicated twist of confusion and helplessness. It seems that even the king does not fully understand. I turn to Mithros. It can work in both good and bad ways. Ah yes, the Fairytale Curse is terrible, isn't it? I catch Varg's eyes from the side of the room. He glances away from me, and I follow his gaze to the corners of the room. I hadn't noticed them before, but now I see cloaked figures hiding in the shadows, witches. They must be the ones holding everyone in place as they try to escape. But not all magic is terrible, like the magic we will use to revive the queen. You are insane. Hildur is mad. You have no right to refer to her by name. A sudden chill envelops the room. I can feel actual icicles on the table. I pull my hands away. Now, we are going to eat dinner and we are going to enjoy it. And every day will be just like this until the queen returns. Rod glares across the table at Mithros. Why? Why would we not enjoy dinners together? That's not what I meant. Why go through the charade day after day? I stare across the table at Mithros, glaring. I already told you before, I had to clear this place of traitors. 𝐿𝐵𝐼𝐻𝐿 planned on stealing the crown and I stole it back. But because of the time of the queen's revival is so close, I've decided to keep the crown with me until I can return it to its appropriate owner. Hildur is... Queen Hildur is the true owner of the crown. I thought it best that we all wait out her arrival together. But know this, when my queen demands it, I will kill all of you. I simply refuse to act without her orders. This time, guards come into the room with food. They set it before us and we are forced to eat under Mithros' watchful gaze. Though I try to spot an opening in the dining hall, I can find no way out. This really is a prison. 2 days pass. I have been searching for ways out and trying to ease more answers out of Varg and Mithros. Neither of them is very forthcoming. Both enjoy speaking in riddles. Varg especially is an enigma. Oh my god. Whenever I try to ask him about Fritz, he smirks at me and remains silent. Who knows where Fritz is at, honestly? What, not going to try asking me any questions tonight? I'm not going to get any answers from Varg, and it is almost my birthday. I need to find a way out of here. I'm disappointed. You're the only fun I have in here, Princess. Maybe if I'm quiet, he will leave me alone. If you're just going to be quiet and sulk, I guess I should be going. Remember, don't try anything funny. There are knights just outside your door. Varg bows mockingly. He leans down to pat me on the head before he turns and leaves. I cannot give up. I once again begin my search through the room. Time is running out and there's nothing that I can do besides search for a way out. But I know that if I leave the room, the knights will catch me immediately. If I had a weapon, I might stand a chance. I put my fingers to my neck and remember what Chevalier told me about it. Sleep. What? The sound comes from outside my door. It is a woman's voice. The door opens and suddenly Chevalier and Delora are both in my room. Oh my god, Princess. I am startled to see Chevalier standing before me, his eyebrows drawn over his eyes with great worry, and beside him stands Delora with her arms crossed. Well, aren't you a sight for sore eyes? We're here to stage a daring rescue. I rush to Chevalier and wrap my arms around him. He puts a hand on the small of the back and smiles down at me. We're going to get you out of here, Princess. How did you both get in here? With the power of magic. Dramatic, even at a time like this. The two exchanged a look before looking at me seriously. Parfait, Waltz, the Knights, and Karma are all here. We thought we'd just be fighting witches, though. We weren't expecting the Knights. No matter what we said, we couldn't get through to them. They're under a spell. Mithros. He wants to release Mother. Both of them look at me with confusion. What? Mother is still alive, just inside the tin of barrel. Mithros wants to bring her back. That is impossible. The queen is still alive? Chevalier looks worried while Delora's expression is more rigid and resolute. We cannot let that happen. I don't know how the queen would be alive in the first place, but, well, we'll worry about that later. Right, we have time later to discuss the specifics of everything, but right now we need to get out of here. Right, everyone is keeping the guards and witches busy for you, princess. I'll distract Mithros. Chevalier, I'm counting on you to get the princess to safety. That's why I'm here. Princess, can you guide me through the palace? I cannot just leave everyone here. Don't worry, Garland is seeing to saving your family. No, I cannot just leave everyone in the margin here to do things for me. Lucette, we cannot afford to lose you. I told you I would do anything to protect you, and I will. The sooner you're safe, the sooner we'll have the advantage. You are the legitimate heir to the throne and the next Tenenbaum bearer. You cannot let yourself remain in Mithros' hands. The situation is indeed most dire, so for now we must hurry. I nod my head feebly. Without another word, the three of us head toward the door. Delora exits first and stops immediately. I almost run into her. I glance through the doorway and see Varg waiting just outside, holding a blade to Delora's neck. Delora holds up her hand and deflects the sword as it slimes harmlessly past her neck. Varg slides away, still holding out his sword. His usual smirk is half-hearted at best. Get out of our way. You're awfully demanding, aren't you? Pretty please? No can do, my lady. Shame. Looks like I'll have to destroy that pretty mask of yours along with everything else underneath. Delora holds up her hand and summons a wall of electric orbs. With a flick of her wrist, she sends them rushing toward Varg, who dodges with surprising speed. Varg's movements appear sluggish, but I have seen his fast reflexes. He is playing with Delora, even though I do not think he has the advantage. He drops the sword, and for a few moments I feel Delora has the advantage. Then suddenly he raises the cane he usually holds at his side and taps it on the ground. A burst of smoke escapes from the bottom of it, shrouding the room. An enchanted cane? You're not the only one with tricks up your sleeve. Delora! Chevalier, get her out of here! Let's go, princess. Chevalier takes my hand in his and begins to lead me away. I turn to glance back at Delora and Varg and realize that Delora is completely on the offensive, but Varg does nothing but dodge. It is as if he's trying to buy time for something. I banish the thought from my head as Chevalier pulls me down the hall. How rude. Haven't you heard of chivalry? I spot Karma still in his dress, holding a sword out at the man in front of him. When the man lunges, Karma dodges back and grunts as his back comes to the wall. I suppose chivalry is dead then. He steps off to the side as the possessed knight attacks him with his blade. The sword catches his dress but does not hinder him from stepping forward and aiming a jab with his sword beneath the knight's armor. The knight kneels, but the sword does not fall from his hand. Karma looks up at us sharply. What are you doing just standing there? Move! It takes me a moment to realize that I was just as frozen, so too is Chevalier. His face is pale as he grabs my hand again and once again starts rushing me down the other end of the hall. Chevalier's steps are wider than mine and I have to struggle to keep up, but the further we go down the hall, the more apparent it becomes that there are too many obstacles in the way. We pass Jared and Garland as we move too, and they manage to clear a path for us. These knights. Will they not stop moving until Mithros is defeated? I hope that the king and everyone else is safe. As we pass Jared and Garland, I tell them where the royal family is, but I have no way of knowing if the words reach their ears amidst all of the sound. Chevalier. So, the stab wounds in the armor I saw earlier were from the knights themselves, but why would they battle each other? What? The punctures in the armor that we saw at the clinic, the stab wounds at the gut and at the arms. Chevalier's eyes are so distant, it is as if he's looking right through me. We need to keep moving. I take his hand and lead him forward. I do not know what he's talking about, but we can talk about this later. Right now we have to escape. We are closer to the palace entrance when we see them. A group of knights stand in two lines on both sides of the hall facing each other. At the far end of the hallway stands a gaggle of witches, and in between them Mithros. Good evening. Did you enjoy your stroll around the palace? Chevalier immediately moves to stand in front of me. The cloudiness is gone from his eyes, but what leaves his mouth is not a demand but a question. How could you do this? How? It was quite easy, actually. You know what I mean. Why would you make the knights fight one another? What a foolish question. Obviously, it is because they are inconsequential. On a stage, some pawns exist as easily replaceable extras. I am interested in only keeping the actors. In the grand scheme of things, the extras aren't needed. In fact, I can make them do whatever I need in order to get the best outcomes. He snaps his fingers and the knights raise their swords. I tense, thinking that the knights are going to turn to us, but they never do. Here is an interlude for you to enjoy. The knights are attacking each other. The sound of metal ringing against metal fills the air. Oh my god. The knights' swords arc, dive, and stab. Mithras watches from behind them, the slyest smile never leaving his lips. The two of us can only stand there stunned into silence. It isn't long before we can see red. The smell of blood begins to linger in the air. Swords cut through flesh. Ew. Abruptly, I snap to my senses. I attempt to move forward, but Chevalier remains firmly grounded. Chevalier! I heard many things about the doctor working at the clinics. I heard that he was a volunteer who assisted in helping the injured during the Great War. I also heard, until just recently, he had been cursed. I knew immediately upon seeing that you were that volunteer. I suppose it is unavoidable that you and the princess know each other, but to think you would be so close. Chevalier just stares blankly ahead. He looks almost like he is under a spell. His eyes are glazed. I continue to call his name. His eyes follow the sword movements of the knights, and he does not even spare me a glance. Have I unraveled that doctor? Chapter 10, Not Like Mother. Oh! Oh my god! Chevalier, don't listen to him. Just look at all those men you cannot save. All of these men dying before your eyes. Chevalier, we have to get away from here. How many people have you really saved? In the grand scheme of things, you have no talent. That is why you sought help from a witch. Mithras' voice is oddly common. I can feel some sort of presence. Mithras' voice is oddly common. I can feel some sort of response in the air that is different from normal. A knight plunges a sword through another's gut, causing him to lose his sword. The sword scatters across the floor, gleaming underneath the moonlight. I look desperately at Chevalier and realize that magic is already working its way into him. He does not see anyone except Mithras, who is still smiling from behind all of the knights. I glance at the sword, remembering what Chevalier taught me. Mithras is on guard right now, but I have better judgment than that, and I told Chevalier that I was going to steer clear of the burden of taking someone's life I would promise to keep. I gaze up at Chevalier and realize that this is how he looked every time he regained a memory, like he was stuck in his own mind. There's only one thing I can think of to get him out of this trance. I clench my hand into a fist, and I punch Chevalier in the face. Ow! God, it's my face. Impossible. Chevalier's eyes clear when he looks at me. I can tell he is distraught, but his eyes are seeing the present. Sorry, I thought I lost you. I suppose I needed that, didn't I? We just punched him. Chevalier smiles sheepishly. It is fleeting and gone by the time we both turn to Mithras again. Chevalier looks straight past the still fighting knights. If this bothers Chevalier, which it must, he hides it beneath a neutral expression. How did you break my spell? You cannot use any magic. She didn't break it with magic. She broke it with the power of love. I stare at him skeptically. We both know that is not true, and I know Chevalier well enough to know that he does not mean that. But Mithras looks furious. Love! Ha! As if some fairy tale love could save you from this predicament. Princess, you're a witch. We feed off negativity, off of chaos and loathing. Love serves us no power. Life is about balance. Lucette taught me that. And though I may not be able to uphold a balance of negatives and positives myself, I'm at least going to try. You could try to do the same. Maybe look beyond your depressing life and start reaching for something that gives you happiness. Something that won't plummet you back into the same darkness. Mithras snaps his fingers and the knights all freeze and they turn to us swords raised. I do not need to be lectured by some lovesick fool. By all means, cling to your love. I will show you how fragile it is. Witches do not need love. Mithras holds out his hands and the knights begin their steady, deadly march toward us. Chevalier takes my hand and pulls me back, but I see my opening in the narrative. Mithras enjoys inflicting pain with his words, and I can do the same. If you do not need love, if you do not need affection, then why are you doing all this for Mother? I am not. You are doing it to be recognized. Why? Every student wants to impress their teacher. His words are calm, but there is a desperation in them. Mother was Mithras' teacher. I thought he was just reviving her as another witch, but... Do you know Mithras? It was a long time ago. We both shared the same teacher. Wait, Waltz, are you a witch? Yeah. Waltz was Mother's student? No, I cannot think about that now, but I can use this to my advantage. I do not remember Mother's students in the least, but at least one of them turned out right. The other did not, and I can see the bitterness in you. It is the same bitterness I held, only yours goes deeper. You will not sway me with your foolish words. The knights begin to rush us. Their run is more of a pathetic shuffle given the harmed state that they are in, but this does not slow them down. We're going to run, but trust me, Princess, I will protect you no matter what happens. Oh, God. He grabs my hand and we wait. I can see Chevalier's eyes darting around as he searches for an opening. I can feel the pulse of his quickened heartbeat through his hand and I know he's panicking. Oh. Suddenly, there is a massive luminescent gold wall in front of us. The knights stumble right into it, their swords hitting the bright barrier. Are you two okay? Parfait! Parfait rushes to stand in front of us. Mithras' expression is a cold, angry glare. He measures the situation with critical eyes and then he turns away and begins to dart down the hall. Ugh. Parfait collapses to one knee, arms still outstretched to maintain the barrier. Delora appears. She is flustered and bleeding on one arm, but she still stands straight. Delora holds up her hand and summons fire. Put this shield down, Parfait. I have this. Parfait releases the shield and the magic projectiles shot out at the knights. The two edge the knights back through the hallway, but I can see Parfait growing weaker and weaker by the moment. Parfait takes a deep, shuddering breath as she tries to stand. When she falls yet again, Chevalier takes a step forward and looks at her urgently. Lady Parfait. I'm fine, don't fuss. Her breathing is labored, but she still manages a smile. I fought in the Great War, this is nothing. She looks at me and Chevalier. Wait. You two need to leave. But you're fine, I just need to gather my energy. A spell from Delora sends the knights sprawling to the ground after she creates a heavy downpour of rain that quickly turns into ice. You two keep going, the entrance is clear. I notice the witches that had been standing behind Mithras approach us now. Delora stands at the ready. I can tell that she is hiding a great amount of stress behind her smirk. Parfait slowly gets to her feet. We fight together, Delora. There is no one I'd rather have fighting by my side, Faye. Aww. Come on, Princess, while we still have an opening. We head around the side. Parfait erects a shield to protect us from any magic that comes our way, and Delora summons a whirlwind as a distraction. Ow! My foot is grazed by fire magic, causing me to stumble, but I force myself into a limping sprint regardless. This is nothing. At the entrance, I pause in the middle of the room. The main entrance hall is eerily silent. Then I see Mithras edging his way into the king's throne room. He is holding tight to Emily, and he notices me watching and smiles. Then he disappears into the throne room. We have to follow him. Princess, he has Emmeline. Chevalier's posture and expression are indecisive, but mine are not. I know Mithras is baiting me, but I cannot leave her alone. My gaze moves around the hallway as I search for other knights. The place is empty, but it is not long before we hear footsteps. I tense at the sound and Chevalier holds tightly to my hand. Then suddenly, as the figure draws near, I recognize him, even if he seems a completely different older person. Waltz! Wait, how did you break your curse? I finally found you. Waltz? You broke your curse, but how? Chevalier stares at him in awe. I now dub you Waltz the Big. There was never a Waltz the Small. Waltz shakes his head. This is his grown-up version. Oh my god, okay. Period. And I broke my curse unexpectedly. I actually found the item I needed while I was searching around. But I can explain more later. For now, we have to go after Mithras. Do you know where he is? He is in the throne room. Mithras stands in the middle of the empty throne room holding Emily to him. He has her hands around her neck. No sudden moves you through or this girl dies. And I do know how much death bothers you. But the start, I realize he is talking to Waltz. All three of us are frozen. Myth. Traitor. Why can't you see that Hilda wasn't trying to teach us? She was trying to corrupt us. Silence, traitor. You betrayed her. During the war, you betrayed our own teacher. Betrayed. Hilda was corrupted. She cannot be saved. How dare you use her name? Mythos' fingers tighten on Emmeline's throat. I can see the tears running down her face. Her sobbing is quiet, but still it reaches my ears in the silent room. Varg. Varg appears from the darkness as he did before. He smiles at all of us from behind Mythos, eyes glinting mischievously. You didn't finish the job. You were awfully vague when you told me how to take care of them. Or when you told me to take care of them. You know, most people would assume that meant entertaining them and offering them refreshments. Obey me. Varg turns to us. He drops the sword he used earlier, his smile fading. I think I see something like pain in his eyes, but I think it might be my imagination. He looks static as he moves toward us. When Waltz moved, Nithros' hand tightens over Emily's neck, and she cries out. Chevalier is watching everything quietly. The concern in his eyes is muted by the urgency. I follow his gaze around the room, wondering what he is searching for. Myth, is it? You were injured during the Great War. I tended to you once. Stabbed in the stomach, you needed stitches for it. I feel Mythos' confusion before I see it. For just a few moments, though, his gaze is centered on Chevalier, his eyes probing him for information. No one came for you. Your teacher must have thought you were too weak, that you would die. Mythos' hands fly away from Emmeline's neck as he lunges toward Chevalier with a snarl, his expression mad. The room breaks out into chaos then. I feel the rise of magic beside me as Waltz readies a spell, the tension in Chevalier's body as he prepares to shield me, and lastly I see Varg sip across the room. Oh my god. Everything goes white. When I look up, I see Waltz standing in front of me with a shield. Mythos' hand lies flat against the shield, and I can feel the heat of his magic. Varg lies on the ground beside his fallen sword, unconscious from the impact of magic. Even Chevalier is on his knees. I rush toward the sword. At the same moment, Waltz pushes Mythos back onto the ground. Then, sword in hand, I stand above Mythos and aim at his neck. The blade touches his skin without sinking into it. Emmeline is hiding behind the throne, staring out of the scene with the shock on her tear-stained face. Will you kill me? Mythos' smile is a mere shadow of itself. You saw the soldiers in the clinic today. You saw how close some of them were to death. Did you see the hollow look in their eyes? I've seen that look many times. It is the look of a man who clings desperately to life. Every life is precious, and a life is still a life, whether it's vile or not. It is a responsibility you have to bear. I know how valuable lives are because I've helped so many people. That desperation is in Mythos' eyes now, a man that clings to life. It would be so easy to slice his throat. I've seen so much blood shed on this night, and it was all caused by Mythos. If I kill him, I can stop all of it, but that would make me no better than Mother. I drop the sword. Mythos actually stops to stare at me in shock. I am not like Mother. I will not kill you for revenge. No sooner have I said the words that I feel a sudden heat at my chest. Oh my god, no way. My hand exceedingly reaches up to grab the necklace around my neck, and then there's a bright light. We broke our curse! 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 Bitch, yes! When the light clears, a new source of light catches my eyes. Yay! We broke our curse! Because we didn't kill Mythos. I stop to stare down at my feet, which are in glass slippers that shine so brightly they sparkle in the dim light. But I have no time to admire the shoes or the weight that has fallen off my shoulders. I barely recognize that the Fairytale Curse has been broken. Emmeline rises from behind the throne and screams, Lucette, watch out! Mythos has grabbed the sword with his hand and turned it around and is aiming it at my chest. It hits a barrier. Parfait stands beside me once more, her face devoid of any color. I did not see her rush in here. She takes a step forward as if to shield me. Out of my way. Mythos draws the sword and plunges it against the seal. This time, the blade is coated with darkness. It pierces the already flimsy shield. The blade goes through Parfait's heart. Oh my god. Wait, I thought that, like, the sword, like, was bent in half. Oh my god, Parfait. Parfait grabs the blade and narrows her eyes at Mithras. I am sorry Hilda did not appreciate you. Something swells inside of me as I stare at Parfait. The sword is impaled in her and I can see her eyes go glassy. I cannot speak, cannot breathe. Waltz rushes forward with his magic and pines Mithras forcibly to the ground. He raises his hand but it never comes down in time. A sword strikes past the shoulder right at Mithras' neck. What? When I turn into a Chevalier that is holding it, oh my god. His body shakes as tear runs down his cheeks. What? Mithras holds his neck as Chevalier holds up the blade and throws it behind him. Out of the corner of my eyes, I catch movement that can only be Varg, but I do not care. Lady Parfait, do not move. We can take the sword out. We can. But I see a hopelessness in Chevalier's expression I know that whatever wound Parfait took was lethal. I can see it in his eyes. I can see it in Parfait's. There is no need to fuss. Oh my god. When Parfait falls, Waltz grabs her, puts his hand to the hilt of the sword. Chevalier crumples beside her. He stares at the blood staining her dress of sorrow. I start to cry. Lucette, do not regret this. I am proud of you. I hate this. I'm now starting to cry. Bro. The room is quiet, even with the newcomers that arrive. The knights and Karma watch the scene from the sideline, all with grim looks on their faces. Last to arrive is Delora, who sits down beside Parfait with her lips pulled into an uptight frown. Her face is stern, but I can tell it is a mask. Parfait. That look doesn't suit you, Delora. I told you to stay back. Hadn't I been here in time, the princess would have. Her words fall apart as she begins to cough. Delora leans over her and shakes her head. I'm sorry I didn't come sooner. Everything is as it should be, Delora. Parfait cranes her neck to look up at me. Wipe away your tears, Lucette. What you did was a good deed. You spared a man's life. But life is not a fairy tale. Humans are good and bad. No, it isn't. But the fear of death makes a life even more valuable. Do not worry, princess. I chose this. Parfait smiles. It is mystifying to see her smile when her body is slowly crumbling away in Waltz's grasp. Parfait's body is what gives out first. Her eyes go next. They remain focused on me. Still smiling. Her body begins to glow as her body slowly fades away. Parfait. Delora, turns away. Even if she is not shedding any tears, it is clear that she is heartbroken. She closes her eyes and releases a shaky sigh. God, this game got me crying. Sweet dreams, my friend. Can I just go back to eating my Pop-Tart? I do not know how long we all stay in the room mourning the loss of Parfait. Karma, Jurian, and Garland eventually spread out to search for any remaining danger. At some point, they return with the king and the rest of the family. My reunion with my family is half-hearted. I do not know what to say to people that I hated only months ago. Despite the quiet, they all take me in with open arms. The king stays by my side long after the others have left. Karma and the knights return to the march and tell the others the news. Waltz goes to search the palace for any remaining resistance. Only Delora, Chevalier, the king, and I remain. Chevalier cries. I've never seen him cry before, but his heartbreak is my own. What happened was a nightmare, but it eventually ended. Last night, Varg escaped the throne room. No one saw where he disappeared to in all the chaos. I am beginning to believe that his faint was a trick. Since the night had everyone left so tired, we were offered rooms in the palace. I came to my room with Chevalier, where the two of us attempted to comfort each other with words. Chevalier was especially shaken, being the one to kill Mithras. He was in tears for a long time. I am pretty sure that I must have fallen asleep sometime when we were talking, but I'm lying in my bed underneath my covers, and though I think for a few moments that it must be a figment of my imagination, it is not. Aww. Chevalier is definitely lying right next to me, sleeping beneath those same covers. How did this happen? I put off the recollection of the previous day to stare at Chevalier's face. His glasses are off, and without them, his face seems strangely empty. He looks vulnerable, almost like a child, except his features are too handsome for that. What am I thinking? I slowly put my hand to his cheek and flinch when his eyebrows crease. Aww. Moments later, his eyes open. They are foggy this early in the morning. What is this? Have I been woken by my princess? Usually it is princes that wake their princesses. I will always wonder how he manages to keep smiling like this. Okay, I need to take a screenshot of that. Even when he is in pain, he forces a smile. But you are no prince, and I'm not some damsel princess. Chevalier closes his eye again and sighs. There is only one way to break the spell of sleep. Oh my god. I fuss as his lips curl into a mischievous smile. Still, his eyes do not open. I think about what happened last night. Parfait, Mithras' death, Varg's escape, everyone else's heartbreak. Before I have to relieve the burden, I can afford to lose myself in some happiness. I lean forward and kiss a smile. I break away from Chevalier startled. Princess, how distressing. Waltz the big ruins everything. I quickly slip out of bed, and Chevalier sits up and puts on his glasses with a yawn. Good morning, Princess Anne. His eyes widen when he sees Chevalier. Are you so tired that words have abandoned you, Waltz? No, I wanted to see if the princess was doing okay, if you were both alright, actually. He pauses to look at us, his eyebrows furrowed in thought. Though I can't imagine just how tongue-tied you must be, you should speak if you have something to say. Waltz sighs. I didn't want to bring this up so soon, but it's been on my mind the whole night. It's just, you didn't have to kill Myth. That was my job. Your job. I doubt that. Besides, I didn't want to kill him. It was a reaction. The room goes silent for a few moments as Chevalier stares down at the floor. He told me before that lives were valuable. That is why I tried to save Mithras, but in the end, my sparing his life forced Chevalier to carry the burden of his death. He already told me that it is not my fault. Parfait said that what I did was a good deed, but still. Killing Mithras saved us more casualties. I hope I convinced Chevalier that. Most likely, he will wrestle without guilt for a long time. I turned my attention back to Waltz and will the questions to the back of my mind for the time being. Waltz, there are questions I need to ask you. About how he broke his curse, about Mother being his teacher, about Mithras. There is so much I want to ask him, I do not even know where to start. We have plenty of time for explanations now, Princess. After your birthday, Delora and I will pick up your magic education. But for now, you should rest. I'll give you the full story of my princeship and curse another day. But Princess, Chevalier, I just thought I'd let you know when Parfait came into this battle, she expected to die. She told all of us that while we were sitting around trying to plot a rescue plan. I glanced at Chevalier, who nods quietly. Was it because of her frailty after the Great War, or did Parfait somehow have a feeling? Oh, also, congratulations on breaking your curse, Princess. Chevalier sits up straight, his eyes narrowed behind his glasses. Waltz, I was supposed to congratulate her first. Chevalier stands and kisses me promptly on the cheek. My cheeks flush, and even Waltz looks embarrassed. Congratulations, my sweet. It was all very dramatic when your curse broke. There was this bright light and wait. Why was there no bright light when I broke my curse? Both Waltz and I burst into laughter. Chevalier just sighs dramatically. He leans against my shoulder and I do not protest. I have a feeling that getting through the memory of last night might be easier with him here. If anyone can put a smile on my face, it is Chevalier. We hope to see you again in the Martian soon, Princess. I will be back. After all, I have friends there. Aw, did I speak falsely? No, of course not. It's the truth. Anyway, I need to get going. I've explained what happened to your father, but you should talk with him privately soon. After everything that happened last night, speaking to the king is the last thing on my mind, but I suppose it must be done. Thank you, Waltz. And you, Chevalier, might want to ask for a guest room. But no bed is as comfy as the princess's. I nudge him without realizing it, but Chevalier just laughs. We promise Waltz that we will see him and everyone else in the Martian soon. Afterwards, Waltz hurries out and shuts the door. My eyes go to the edge of my bed where something shiny catches my eyes. The glass slippers are a reminder of everything that happened yesterday. Of the fact that life goes beyond just black and white, good and evil are subjective. In the end, life is gray, Mother. Both good and bad, but even though fairy tale endings cannot exist, I still want to live my life with everyone else. Mithros centered his life around a single person. He was selfish. I will become someone better than him. Thinking about Mithros makes me remember something. Chevalier, you said that you took care of Mithros during the Great War, that no one came from him. Was that true? I don't know, Lucette. He acted like it was, though, wasn't it? So you never knew Mithros? No, I didn't know him at all. I don't know if I would have been able to strike him down if I did. I don't know what burden he carried, but it seemed heavy. I only guess at what I could say to distract him. I heard rumors of a strong wish that went abandoned for many years. That may have been him and might not have been. So deception exists in everyone, but it is not entirely what Mother said it was. My birthday is tomorrow. I sit in the throne room speaking to my father, who has listened to my tale with patience. When it is over, he looks at me sadly. I owe you an apology, Lucette. This whole time you've been on your own and I could not do a thing for you. You can now. Start first by explaining what happened between you and Mother. You knew she was a witch. I did too. You did too before she forcibly erased your memories. I tried reaching out to you many times when you were a child, but my efforts were met with resistance. Still, I cannot excuse myself for what I have done. I truly abandoned you and I'm sorry for that, Lucette. I will explain the story to you if you give me time. For now, I would very much like to mend my bond with you. To be honest, the king still angers me. He only apologizes now after all this has come to light. Whether or not I was difficult to speak to, he still had an obligation to seek me out. He is still late to care, but he is still my father and I can forgive him. I can learn to trust him again. It will take time, but I would like to mend our bond. I would also like to try speaking with Emily and Rod and Ophelia, but that would take time. The king smiles at me. It is one of the first honest smiles I have seen from him in years. We have time, all the time in the world, and we will mend our family bond, I promise. As I turn to leave the room, the king calls out to me. Lucette, I am proud of you. More proud than any other father in the realm could ever be of his child. Period. It should be. After what happened, we searched for Fritz, but he has vanished. Mithros and Varg had said that they replaced him, but they never said anything about what had happened to him. We searched endlessly, but to no avail. All I can hope is that he is safe and that I will reunite with him again in the future. Oh, Waltz's performance today was amazing. Don't you agree, Mr. Chevalier? I agree. You ladies looked especially charming with so many lilies floating around you. Oh my. He always speaks like that. Do not mind him. It has been a whole month since the events at the palace. My birthday has come and gone. Now my life begins. I have been practicing magic with Waltz and Delora, attempting to bond with my family and visiting the Martian when time allows me to. Anise was overjoyed to see me visiting often. Since Chevalier operates from there as a doctor, I visit often. Mostly though he clings to me like a leech. Oftentimes I find him in my bed when I could have sworn he was sleeping in another room for the night. Sometimes at night he has nightmares of blood on his hand and of Mithros' death. And at those times, I'm gotta be sitting right beside him so I can promise him that things are alright. As for the Fairytale Curse, I have no idea how Lucette puts up with you. Oh, you broke your curse! Okay. Rod's voice comes out from between his lips. Now he can actually speak. Since the Fairytale Curse was tied to Mother's still living soul in the crystal, her disappearance and my taking her place immediately caused the root to vanish. I've been working for days to break everyone's fairytale curses with magic, and when I am done, no one in the kingdom will have to suffer from it ever again. And now the margin is not just a place reserved for the curse, now it is open to the public. Lucette enjoys it though. She finds my poetic weavings to be the best in the kingdom. What he means is that I can only put up with them because of our relationship. Loving someone so much you can put up with their nonsensical poetry. I thought you were the nice one, Princess Emmeline. No, she has a point. Emmeline focuses her attention on a musician standing off in the distance. She points excitedly, then rushes after them, pulling her brother with her. Her guards follow. Ever since the incident at the palace, we have had more security. I do not blame the king, though it can be tiring at times. Luckily, he is more lax with me. When I told him Chevalier is going to be with me, he settled with Emily and I sharing guards, and so I get to be alone with Chevalier often. Father was worried of him at first until he found out he was a renowned doctor. Now he and Chevalier get on well enough. Chevalier takes a step closer to me and I place my hands around his arm. Aww. Cute. I am no prince, nor am I a knight in shining armor. I am just a doctor. A doctor who has been blessed with the most beautiful women in this world. Aww. Oh my god. Chevalier begins to lead me through town again. He is one of the only contestants in my ever-changing life. He is the one that will always make me smile, and we share a burden, the burden of a friend's death. He is more burdened with nightmares than I am, and while I wish I could do more to help, I can at least listen to him, just like he listens to me. No matter the burden, it can be overcome. Lucette, yes, I love you more than anything in this world. I love you too. Oh! We share one kiss, ignoring the spectators in the town with a shared smile, and we follow after Emmeline. Is that it? Oh, that was it! Oh, okay, that was my favorite route. I will just say this. I like Rumpel's route a lot. I don't know. It's just really different from Fraud and Karma. But yeah, everyone. Wow. So, man. We found out some really, like, lore-related stuff. Like, Walt was a witch, and that her, Lucette's mother taught Mithras and Walt, and now, she's living in the crystal, apparently. Honestly, I hope in these last two routes we have, she does not be summoned. If she is, I'll probably scream, but it's okay. Oh my god, y'all, like, I don't know, I really like this route. Maybe I feel like it was really different. Oh, I love like Kiss CG. Okay, no. But yeah, I just feel like it was really different from Karma and Rod's. I don't know, just more like, Chevalier as a person is just more lighthearted than Karma and Rod. And the fact that he had Beyonce, I went off about that. But yeah, everyone, I hope you enjoyed Rumpel's route. And I think I kind of want to do Fritz next, though. I want to do Fritz. And, like, yeah, with him, too. Like, we haven't gotten much on him since the prologue, and that he's just disappeared in every single route. And that they haven't found him. And Varg, like, what is up with him, though? Like, he just keeps disappearing. Like, I think he was briefly mentioned in Rod and Karma's route, but in this route, he had a lot more. Oh, wait, no, he was in Rod's route, because he was with Emmeline. But yeah, like, Varg was in Rod's route briefly. I don't remember about Karma. I don't think he was in that route as much, but in this route, he was in it a lot, and we got some character, like, background on him and that he like working for Mithras and all that. Girl, bye. But yeah, everyone, hope you guys enjoyed Rumpel's route, and I will see you in the next episode of Cinderella Phenomenon. But yeah, everyone, hope you guys have a marvelous day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.